Ndị baye ngwadalu dị nenu Isaac ụbọchị nkịta mana na ina mma Isaac nkonye chiri ya zelukwa dịka o si dị ya bụ Eastern News 24 ka isi wee na-wetara ya bụ ozi nje gị n'ugbu a gbasata maka ya bụ ife na-eme na Eastern Region and the entire nation. Please pay attention to this update ejimakia wee bịa n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị uruchi nkịta. Alright, ozi wetara unu according to the Biafran activist wetara ya bụ ozi as he quote. Breaking news. Biafran Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa may be released. One of the prominent international lawyer, dropped a bombshell concerning the recent ruling by the Finland government. Hear the news in details. All right, update Ajimakia we beno bosi uruchi kita biko pay attention to this clip. Diki receive vive to saya bozi. Kumuna ende nebe di chiche. Weno na wata kuife na emene obadero di imia. All right, over to you, sir.
The New Telegraph has this rider referring to the same story, says, "We are vindicated," says FG, as Finnish court jails Simon Ekpa 6 years for terrorism. And then the rider to that story, Fagbemi Mahmood, NBA Hill conviction. Ekpa not our member, IPOB. And yes, of course, let's react to that headline. Barrister, let me start off with you on that one.
I am disappointed that the FG is saying that they are vindicated. Vindicated on what? You want to tell me that this FG, they didn't know what Ekpa was doing in Finland? They didn't know. Is that what they are trying to tell me? Did you remember how many times we told them from the southeast, bring this man here, let him answer? They just kept deaf ear. Until this judgment, we now told the Finnish government to take care of this man. What he's doing in the southeast is not our calling, it's not our character. We don't kill people over there. But this man, I don't know who hired him. I don't know who he's working with. So this FG, since you are vindicated, the ones that are under your nose here, what are you doing with them? Can't you vindicate yourself with the ones under you? Was it not said that you remove the log of food in your own life before they speak in another person? So I should now celebrate with you, because they have just someone Ekpa. Told Jubelo and his fellow travelers that are under your nose here, what have you done with them? Federal government of Nigeria, what have you done with them? If not for the way we cried out and the action of Finnish government, someone Ekpa will still be operating today. Because what he's doing in the south is to the benefit of the federal government. That's why they allowed him. And today, the needful has been done. And they are now celebrating. Celebrate the ones who are here with us. Celebrate the one who is here with us. That is when I will know that, yes, you meant what you are saying. The Attorney General is telling us that they are waiting for the CTC of the judgment. What do you want to do with it? What do you want to do with the certified true copy? We are talking of terrorists that are disturbing Nigeria here for 15 years now. No prominent one among them have been jailed. Toby Bello is still talking and dining and whining with the federal government. Please, for God's sake, when will this Nigerian government at least show us some mercy in their attitude? The embarrassment is too much all over the world. The federal government will send them easy to go and be talking with a known terrorist, a wanted terrorist. And they are now celebrating someone that was jailed in Finland for terrorism activities. Can you just imagine? A complete contradiction. Can you just imagine? So, you want to tell me that when you get the city, what are you going to do with it? That the Attorney General is waiting for it. Please, they should spare all this insult. It's becoming too much. They have been doing Nigeria to, I don't know. In fact, Banana Republic is even worse than Nigeria now. You are dining and whining with terrorists. The London knows no one that is operating in Finland have been jailed. And you are not even ashamed. You are saying you are waiting for the CTC. So you now copy what they did before you can now jail these ones here. Is that what you are waiting for? A one Attorney General. Look at what is going on in Nigeria here. No single one of them has been brought to book. Rather, you are negotiating and dining with them. So it is when they tell somebody in abroad that you now know what to do, Abi. Is that what you are telling me? It's a shame.
Let's go to, we have Professor Emmanuel Odre. Okay, we do understand that he has left the virtual link there. But anyway, let's continue with well, do you have anybody else wanting to react to that story?
Okay, sorry, I'd like to make an observation.
Go ahead, please.
Because the statement or this discourse actually took off from linking it to the federal government's reaction, jubilation.
Well, I didn't link it to the federal government. It's the paper.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm just reacting to your statement, which is okay. That's the right thing to actually say. And Barrister Darlington's reaction will be quite, understandable. He was very passionate and emotional about it. But for me also, it depicts what I see as a proactive act of inactivity. That's the fallout. That's it has to do with federal government. But as far as I'm concerned, Simon Ekpa's case was more or less made manifest and was for him from the activities and responses from the eastern part of Nigeria, the southeasterners. Having to go there, making representations that what is happening linked to that young man is not acceptable to them. But that Simon Ekpa's case is like a teaspoon out of the ocean of the activities of insecurity and banditry and terrorism ravaging the entire Nigerian space. But let me also link this action of the Finnish government to what took place sometime in Dubai, where it took the government of Dubai to list out terrorists who they arrested on behalf of Nigeria. The Nigerian government kept quiet
over them,
as if nothing happened.
What?
And we are busy celebrating Simon Ekpa. As far as when that issue broke out yesterday, some of my students approached me. Told them that is the business of Simon Ekpa and the Finnish government. But I thank them for one thing. They've made a statement which, if we are responsible as a nation, should key in and flush out a lot of oddities. But unfortunately, Nigeria has become a kind of society where abnormalities are seen to be normal. Right, he was making references to the hobnobbing of our government officials with core and established terrorists. Because in my study on terrorism, sometimes, in 2007 or so, we able to establish 3 terrible terrorist organizations in the world, of which Boko Haram was mentioned as one of them. Today, we are still hobnobbing with Boko Haram, contending with Boko Haram, rehabilitating Boko Haram members, reintegrating them into the society is an abnormality. I think for me, those are worse cases ravaging the Nigerian situation than the case of Simon Ekpa. But just like Barrister Darlington pointed out, going back to the reason for all his inadequacies, Sani Abacha, he said that when any act of insurgency or banditry lasts more than 48 hours, so that government has something to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
As it is infesting the southeast today, the regional extent, I think our government needs to really search itself, search its conscience, look at its logistics, and see how either its actions or inactions are following what is happening in the south before we start talking about Simon Ekpa.
Sorry, Moses, before we move on, the larger picture or the larger question that comes to my mind is, when we talk about insecurity in the southeast, and a lot of people feel, rightly so, that the central government is complicit, either by closing its eyes or by its inaction, But when I look outside the southeast, especially in parts of the north, I also see that, look, the federal government is also looking the other way. Because one of the stories we took on the morning show this morning is that in a certain local government, Musawa local government area in Katsina State, the local government is negotiating with bandits.
Yes.
They pay them money so that they will allow them to go to farm, do business, live in their communities and all of them. And also, I said local government. So at that level, not even the state government, the local government is now taking on the responsibility to ensure their own peace, that they coexist peacefully.
Yeah.
With bandits. And so it begins to, I begin to interrogate the entire role of government as a people. So while talking about what went on or what's going on in the Southeast, I also see that looks like it's a national problem. Looks like it's a national problem because state governments in the North are known to have paid bandits and continue to pay them so that they will have peace in their community. So what is the role of the central government in fighting insecurity? The difference is that in that of Southeast, we do not import any bandit in our territory, in our region. In the North, we know who did it. The Northern leaders brought the terrorists in their region. So they should live with it and leave us alone. Okay, they cannot export it.
Yes. How about the people that are causing mayhem in the Southeast?
Before Hokuzabu became governor of Imo State, was there any mayhem? Was there any mayhem, Mr. Okoro? I don't want us to divert from this. Are you not aware? Several times they have been loaded people from the Sahel into the Sahel on trailer load
into the South.
On several times.
What was the last thing Chukwuma Soludo said about the criminals in the Southeast?
That was a political statement. He wants to have one result into the APC government in Abuja. That was a political. I even challenged him. I said, come, that's not the best way to go. Before you can say that somebody is a criminal, a court had to pronounce it. You cannot just arrest somebody and you now conclude that this man is all the criminals are from Anambra.
Before you come in, let's bring the professor into it. And let me add this headline from the Punch newspaper to it as well, to the conversation that we're having already. The Punch has its big story: terrorism trial. FG may seek Ekpa's repatriation after Finland's 6-year jail term. The riders to that one: government will take further action after judgment review, AGF. Ruling, warning to extremists, Information Minister. Professor Emmanuel, how do you react to these headlines? And thanks for joining us again. Well, do we still have Professor Emmanuel with us?
No.
All right, I do understand that he's left the conversation, but we'll try to re-establish contact with him. He's joining us virtually. Go ahead, Barrister.
There is something we call double jeopardy in law. You don't apply it to an individual. It's not done. The Finnish government and Nigerian government, they don't have such a treaty. Someone is a Finnish citizen. I don't see what they are asking for happening. It can never happen. As a matter of fact, if that guy is brought here now, the case will enter another quagmire. Just like Nnamdi Kanu.
No, they're saying after he has served his
that's what I'm saying now. They will not develop, the thing will not develop another life of his own after the guy has served his sentence in Finland. And I'm telling you that double jeopardy is what? Is injustice on his own.
Well, I think in this case, the government is. I think you want to say something.
Yes, okay,
Go ahead.
Now, really, I wanted to react to that statement. It was, trying to extract from the statement Governor Soludo made in the US. To be very modest in responding to that observation, I think it was very, very uncharitable. It was terribly primordial and unacceptably subjective of somebody of Soludo's capacity to make that kind of request. I watched it, I listened to the video clip, and I felt it's something out of this world and does not have any touch with reality. I was terribly disappointed.
Okay, so you think that those people captured were not of Southeast origin?
Sir, you see, let me make reference to the point that in 2018 precisely, when Buhari, late President Buhari was, the president of this nation, the United Nations assessment of the security situation of Nigeria declared Southeast as the safest region
in the whole of
Nigeria.
Yes.
Then within a space of 14 months, I was saying that I teach criminology.
Yes.
I was analyzing with my students. The trend started changing.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to do with those people. And now the wisdom of Abacha comes to fore. that any of such things happening
Government
and the
will-
state could not arrest it.
Okay.
The state has a hand in it. I had cause to address this issue on TVC, live discussion on the complicity of the federal government as it has to do with the state of insecurity, not just in Nigeria. But the good point you made also is that, let me tell you, it is a national dilemma, but it has more to do with the incapacity and inactivity of the federal government of the day that has what you may call rights to what you call monopoly of violence.
Okay.
What are your soldiers doing in the barracks? I will give you one point. In 1958, for instance, when Nigeria was yet to be fully established as a state, what you are seeing in the north today did not start today. There was an incident of that nature, and those people were operating from the highlands of the mountain. I got to know that at his earlier phase as military personnel, it took the intervention of late Ognegojuku in his earlier phase in the military to pursue those bandits up to the highlands of Cameroon and captured them. You might not see it in your newspaper headlines. What is happening to all our military personnel, your security force, all of them is caused in the barracks while the so-called bandits and terrorists are having a field day.
I understand all of that, and everybody understands what's going on as far as the fight against insecurity is concerned.
Yes.
My position is
Sure.
it is difficult to rule out that there were infiltrators.
It is established.
It's established.
If you like, I can give you
Established that there were infiltrators.
Exactly.
Not just in the southeast.
Yes.
All parts of
Across
Nigeria.
board.
But trying to talk about the southeast,
Yes.
it will be difficult for anybody to say that they didn't have local collaboration.
Not necessarily. You can't enter into
I didn't ask a question.
The government prepared the crime and the criminal
That is, we know all of that. It is difficult to rule out that there were no local collaborators.
Yeah.
In my own state, Abia State,
Sure.
within the Isukwato Umunochi axis, where kidnapping went on for a very long time,
Yeah.
at a point, people were arrested. People were interviewed, people were interrogated.
Sure.
And we discovered that, yes, there were headsmen, Fulani headsmen, that were doing the kidnapping. But we had local collaborators from that community.
Sure. Let me
So at a point, Chukwu Masolero said, a group of people were captured
Sure.
randomly.
Yes.
And they were interrogated and discovered that all of them were from the south. Was this some form of coincidence?
Now let me answer you that. If the ones he said we arrested were Southeasterners,
Okay.
the security personnel in charge of those arrests have some questions to answer. Now, in that your immunity axis you talked about,
Yes.
remember the testimony of one bishop that was usually
arrested. Yes.
I mean, these were credible facts. Answer him to other people. But the biggest revelation from that experience was that he said that not only were his abductors, his men, but as they were coming out of that place when he was released, security people were asking him, how much did he pay this? How much was paid? In other words, it brought down on him that this security person were looking in Kahul.
It's not in dispute.
Let me
It's not in dispute.
Yes.
The issue of contention here is whether Southeasterners were involved in the mayhem going on this.
Let me conclude on that. Yes, it's my field. I'm a criminologist.
Okay.
Even in a pathology, the Bible will tell you that you cannot enter
Into a man's house without first binding him.
without first of binding him. The implication of that binding is that you must
Have an insider.
people that are insiders.
Beautiful.
Look at what happened between the issue of the Great Wall of China, right? If you go back to the middle century, when Europeans got to that place, they say it's not about the war, it's about the people. Our business is to do work hard and get access to somebody within their midst who will make that high wall